So do you live in the Moon Valley area too?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, a minute from Brandy?
How long have you lived over there?
5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm. We were North Phoenix before that, like a little bit further north.
Like where?
7th Street and the 101.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not too far from you, Ryan.
Right by the FBI.
Right by the FBI building. That's right. That's pretty cool.
I'm in Norterra, so it's
Okay.
like take 7th Street over, so
Yeah.
it
really
makes
close.
it easy.
Yeah.
Did you like start raising your kids and do you have kids?
I have one
You have
baby.
one baby.
He's
Oh, that's right. You
4.5
have
months. Yeah.
There you go.
It's a new thing. Yeah.
So what brought you into that area then? That 7th Street area?
My husband bought a house there before we were married, so I moved in with him. Before that, I was in
gotcha.
Scottsdale. I moved here after college, so of course I was in
So
Old
you're
Town.
having fun. And,
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
then-
you're a normal person. Like,
Yeah.
I lived a normal life.
Exactly.
Okay. So this is Caitlin McKeague, everybody, by the way. She is with The Real Broker.
Yes.
Correct? How long have you been there?
A year.
A year
Just
now.
about a
Where
year.
were you before that?
Before that, I was with HomeSmart,
I'm smart.
and I was with Berkshire Hathaway for a bit too.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So where are you from originally then?
I'm from Southern Arizona, south of Tucson, a city called Green Valley.
Green Valley.
Yes.
I've never heard of that, but you have,
Yeah,
correct?
I've seen it. I've seen the signs when I'm heading to Tucson.
That's about
Or
it.
when I hit Tucson, I see that it's beyond.
What would bring somebody to Green Valley?
If you're retiring, that would bring you there.
Okay.
So it's a retirement community for the most part. My parents established a chiropractic business there
Okay.
before I was born, and so that's where we were born and raised. I think they always assumed they would move to Tucson. Never did, though. So
Okay.
3-4 years ago, they finally sold there and moved to Scottsdale, but they were there
Gotcha.
for a while.
So what was that like growing up there then? Was there any other kids, by the way?
There are other kids. There is a school.
Okay.
But it is very like small town-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, a lot of older people too. So
And how far from Tucson is it?
about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
South of Tucson.
South. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So did you go to across the border a lot?
You could. We did not,
Okay.
but you certainly
Okay.
could pretty easily. About, I think, like 40 or so minutes from the border if you just went to Nogales.
Okay.
It was just, Tucson was the big city. It would be cool.
Oh, okay.
Real cool to go to Tucson.
Wow. Okay. So you went to U of A after high school?
Right.
Okay. So what did you go there to study?
I did the business program. So I went to Eller College of Management, and then I studied marketing specifically and wanted to work in advertising. And now I'm in real estate.
Did you have any luck in the advertising and marketing space? No?
No. Well, the funny thing is when you graduate and you think you have this amazing degree, you find that you just get a lot of opportunities for sales, and that's
Yeah.
about it with no
Right.
experience, right? And I didn't want to be in sales, so I decided to go to a staffing company to do recruiting, thinking I wasn't doing sales, but ultimately I was still doing sales.
And what company was that?
It's called Medics Staffing.
Okay.
It was in Old Town.
There we go. So remember that when your kid's older and they're going to go to college and they want to go get a communications degree, and you're like, no, you need to have a marketing degree, and it's all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, it's all the same.
Yes.
If there's even college then, by
I
the
was
way.
going to say, at this point, I'm like, start a business.
Yeah.
Do something cool. Be techie. You don't need to go
Exactly.
to college necessarily.
I know.
Agreed.
It's amazing what we don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years, but let alone for your child, it's
Another 14
14
years.
years.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen there? So when you moved back to Phoenix, you started in the staffing business, and then you were living in Old Town.
Yes.
Living like a 20-some-year-old normal
Correct.
person would be.
Yes.
Okay.
Lots of fun.
So did you stay at that staffing company for a while, or how did that work?
I was there a couple years, and then I moved into like more corporate recruiting.
Okay.
I worked for Goodwill of Central Arizona. So a little bit different nonprofit, but still recruitment. And did that, and then I moved to another company after a few years doing recruitment as well, kind of staffing, but more internally. And then eventually, after 8 years in recruiting, I decided to start real estate.
Okay. So that was in 2019?
18.
18. So what made you decide real estate then?
It's funny, we sold our house, the one by the FBI building.
Okay.
And bought in Moon Valley. And I was like, this is really similar to what I do in recruitment in terms of managing expectations with your customer, walking them through a process. Because I was hiring for a hiring manager. So I was like working on behalf of the hiring managers and finding them candidates. And so kind of similar, listing a property and finding buyers for it. And so I was like, I could totally do this. This is great. So I'm going to quit and I'm just going to be this awesome real estate agent. And, it's a rude awakening when you get into real estate. It's not that easy.
I love that you said that because it is nothing like you think it's going to be, and it's going to be way harder than you think it is. Were you able to implement like some of the systems and processes and stuff that you did use though in your previous career? So that was like, you're like, well, this is because I already do this here. I can obviously do it in this space. And so you found out that it was difficult, but then you did finally have some success.
Yes.
Right. So how long did that take before you really went, okay, I'm figuring this out? And like, what were like the things that were like really hard for you?
So like I mentioned, I never wanted to be in sales. And here I am in like the most sales job ever, right? Like, you have to be so competitive to get business. And that was the hardest thing for me to realize is your job is just to prospect when you start. And even now, your job is really just to prospect, manage your current client's stuff, but prospect because that's what will keep you going. So that was the hardest part, was to figure out, like, I really don't want to cold call and door knock and do all these things. But yet I just jumped into a career where like that's essentially what you need to do. Or so they tell you. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to like realize, and it was a lot slower to build business than I expected. And everyone tells you that's what it's going to be like. And then, but you're like, no, not for me. And then you get into it and you're like, they're all right.
Was there moments when you were like, this was a bad decision? I think I'm going to go back to what I was doing before or find something else? Or did you just like, I just keep going?
I didn't get that far. I'm very fortunate that my husband was like, do it and put in 110%. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But, you have some time to do it. And so I think we said a year. If I wasn't doing well within a year, we'd, reconsider. But thankfully things started to pick up a little bit closer to that year mark and ended up working out. So I never got to the point where I was like, I'm going to have to go back to corporate. But also, like, I still say I'm never going back to corporate no matter what.
Exactly.
So, I don't know.
Before we get into, like, what's really a thing I think that really drives your business, which we won't even talk about quite yet, is that what you wanted to do?
No.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, like, what did you do when you first if you didn't like to cold call, like, so what did you do to try to prospect?
I cold called and door knocked.
You did it.
I did it.
So you did the things that nobody else wants to do. Okay.
So this is what I wanted to mention. Brandy, it's how you two met, right? You were cold calling. So here, I'll let Brandy.
Brandy, here's a microphone right here.
Oh, here we go. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, this is a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Pay
Brandy
attention.
Bozak.
Brandy Bozak.
Well, and Caitlin will fill in details if I miss any, because it was sort of secondhand. But we met by Caitlin cold calling for homeowners looking to list, and she actually talked to my husband, who is also in sales, and always looking for an angle, and said, "We're not interested in listing, but if you're a realtor, I would love for you to connect with my wife. She's a lender." And she said, yeah, totally. Go ahead and give her my information. And so he gave it to me, and I emailed her and didn't hear back, which is fairly normal in our business. And I didn't know that she lived in Moon Valley also, so I didn't know that we had that connection at the time. But so about a year, I would say, went by, and I get this email from her and says, oh my gosh, I was searching for another Brandy's email, and I saw that I didn't respond to you. I'm so sorry. And so we ended up meeting, and we hit it off, and the rest is history.
Yep. That's exactly right. One thing I will add is, so her husband's like, oh, my wife's a loan officer. Let me send you her info. And I'm thinking, why? Why would I care if your wife's a loan officer? That's how new I was to the business that I was just like, cool, dude. Like, thanks. And then I swear on my life, I somehow missed her email. I never ignored it. And I legitimately, it was 1 year, I think to the month later, that I was searching my inbox for Brandy, who was, I think she was the assistant to another loan officer that I had a transaction on. And I got it confused. And I'm like, who's this Brandy? And then I was like, I reached out and
like, what made you do that though? Like most people would just go, it's been a year, whatever. At that point, you've been in the business long enough to know you probably got hit up by 1,000 loan officers at that point.
Yep. Well, I think, and I can't remember exactly, but I think what was happening at that time is I was leaving the team that I started with, and so kind of going out on my own. I wasn't as interested in continuing with the lenders that the team had been using, just because I was trying to forge my own path. And so it kind of worked out that I was like, oh, it's another lender I could partner with, and I understood the value of having a great lender at that point. And also I connected the dots that she was in Moon Valley, and I was like, this just makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I did reach out. I'm glad I found that email.
Do you have a question you're going to ask? Because regarding
no, I just wanted that story to be told.
Oh,
she
okay.
said cold call like 3 times.
Right.
I'm like, oh, that's the perfect segue into Brandy. So I do have a question. Now that you've been in the business longer and you've been working with her for, I guess, at least 2 to 3 years, right? If you met.
What was it, 2019?
Yeah, it has to be probably 4
years.
Over 4 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So now that you've been working together this long, what's the secret sauce? Like how is it that you work so well? Because she talks about you a lot. Like for the last year, I've been hearing your name. So obviously you're very important to her business. What is it that you get out of Brandy, the partnership that works so well for you?
Well, Brandy's super knowledgeable, if you guys don't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all know that. And she has a ton of experience in the business. She's been an excellent resource for me just to even like call and be like, hey, what does this mean? Or if I'm stuck using another lender because a client of mine is, loyal to their lender and I don't know what they're talking about, she's that gracious with her time that she'll break something down for me, help me understand what's going on, even when it's not her transaction. But beyond that, she's always available. If I have a question, she's always available for my clients. She provides great information. She gives them the whole picture financially, and I think that's important. It's not just about like sticking someone in a loan program because that's what everyone does, or she's really looking at the individual and what's best for them. Great follow-up. Her team is on top of it. There's really nothing that I can say.
So one of our mottos is expertise without empathy is failure. And I think like she's probably like one of the best at that because she's like super sweet too. And she's very easy to kind of have a conversation with. You know what I'm saying? Like all clients are going to like her. It's true, right? All clients are going to like her.
I agree. She says she's not very sweet, but
she's maybe not to like her family, but she is to us.
She's great.
But I mean, to clients, and I think that I can't. That's shocking to hear, by the way, because I've never seen that side of you. But maybe one night, actually, I did see that side of you. Yeah, she can after a few cocktails, maybe.
Spicy.
Yeah. So let's get on to like what I think maybe is your secret sauce now is the social media side of things. TikToks, your YouTube. Obviously, you have a ton of shorts. I looked at a lot today. I mean, all week. That had like multiple thousands of views, and so let's talk about like how that got started for you and like the progression and from where you are now versus where you were, say, when you got started.
Yeah, well, YouTube was a 2019 thing when I was leaving that team and kind of going out on my own and just figured there was a lot of talk about YouTube at the time, and for me, my gut was always telling me that social media made a lot of sense to prospect, and that's the millennial in me, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that I was right, because everywhere you turn in this business, a lot of times, depending on your environment, you're just hearing that like it's more about the traditional methods, and these new ways, using social media really work very, very well, arguably better because you build more trust. And so I decided I was just going to give it a try. And there was a Facebook group, there probably still is, teaching realtors how to use YouTube. And I just kind of did what everyone else was doing. My first video was atrocious. It's still posted. And I used Loom, so it was like my little head on a circle in the bottom corner. And then I had like the Cromford Market little infographic, and I just talked through it, my voice shaking the whole time, not really sure what I'm talking about, hoping I'm saying the right thing. And I don't even know if I edited it, and that was that. So I was like, okay, I did my first video. But I was just consistent. Every single Friday posting a video. I've never missed a Friday since then, through COVID, through maternity leave, all of that.
Wow.
I do not miss posting. And I think YouTube appreciates that. So you get kind of rewarded for being consistent in that way. But it just kind of built from there. And like we were talking about before, it's a lot of trial and error. You just evolve as you continue to go. You make things better, you tweak things, and you kind of start to understand what your style is, in a sense.
So when it goes to creating content, like, or wondering like what so do you do the Cromford Report every time?
So yes, and that's another thing that has evolved. So my content originally was a lot of like moving to Phoenix, home buyer tips, that kind of thing. And once a month I would do like a market update. COVID started and everyone was doom and gloom about the market crashing because of COVID, and people were really confused on what was going to happen. And so I started doing just like a Monday update every Monday on Instagram stories. And then it got longer, and I decided if I'm going to do this on Mondays, I might as well, and record it, I might as well post it on my YouTube channel. Why wouldn't I do that too? So that's how my Monday market update started. And so to this day, I still do a weekly update on the market, but that has evolved to what mortgage rates are doing, what's happening in the economy, a lot of things that are more broad that would affect real estate as a whole, and then a dive into what's going on in Phoenix. So
has that helped you understand a lot of the economics behind things too? Because I heard you talking about like specific economic terms.
Yeah, CPI. I watched one of those videos.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, she
DCE.
sounds like a loan officer.
So were you starting to really grasp what all that means every single time, or are you somewhat regurgitating like the information that you had heard from Tina Tambora, or which I'm sure there's a little bit of both. Obviously, that's what everybody does, but you have to get it from somewhere.
Yep. No, it's a year ago, I would say I was more on that like speaking about it and not fully confident, trying to understand it. But now, like, I just do my own research every weekend leading up to it. I'm on Yahoo Finance. I'm on a bunch of different websites. I look at Mortgage News Daily. I read what they're saying, and I just compile what is the story this week, what is going to make sense or, be impactful to buyers or sellers, what's going on out there that's going to affect real estate in the end. So how does it kind of trickle down? And so I understand it much more now. Not anything I ever thought I would care about or understand well enough to speak about, but my confidence is much higher now, and it helps going into a listing presentation. I can speak about it off the cuff. I know what's going on. I'm keeping up with it.
Do you ever send your potential clients, like your YouTube channel or any videos before you go meet with them for a listing presentation, or like, hey, check me out, this is, and you do? Okay.
Yep. Especially if they have specific questions on certain things that I've already made a video about, or like I have a listing presentation after this, and they were asking me about previous listings I've had, and so I've sent them the listing videos that I've done on those and told them about what we do for that and all of that. So we'll talk about it more, but they can at least see it ahead of time.
Has anything changed as far as like the videos of when you go to show a home? Like you showed a home on like what you can get in Phoenix for like $275,000 or $380,000. I can't remember what it was, but it really wasn't. It wasn't like a great house by any means. It had no baseboards. Kitchen was not good. So do you sprinkle those videos in as well? Do you have a videographer that follows you around when you go to do those things, or you do that yourself too?
So that's also something that has evolved. Where I'm at today, I have a videographer that I work with for listing videos,
Okay.
or I've done some like luxury home tours, and I'll pay him to make a video if another agent has a luxury home that allows us to do a listing video for them.
Gotcha.
So I've done that a few times. In the past, I was just using a gimbal and doing like a
Okay.
selfie walkthrough. And as crappy as the quality can be, people love it. People love to see what you
Yeah.
can get for whatever amount. And
Well, that was a good
It's
bit. I
reality.
mean, that had like 2.5 thousand views, I think, on that one, but it was funny,
yeah.
right? So do you do those as often anymore, or those were kind of like from the past and now you're focusing more on like studio stuff?
Was that the shorts? The one
Yes,
with,
it was a YouTube short.
was that the one where I was like a green screen of the video, like
Oh,
of it
is that what it
behind
was?
me, and then it was me talking about it? It might
No,
have been.
no,
Oh.
it was like literally like you showed the house. Oh, maybe. I can't remember. But I know that it was, you showed the house and you might have been just talking, actually.
Maybe.
But it had no baseboards and the kitchen was terrible. And it was, and this was like, this is what you get in Phoenix, Arizona. And it was
Yeah.
like, damn, this would be depressing for someone who wanted to move here if this is all you can get for that amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So YouTube shorts, then how do you focus on those?
That's a good question. I'm trying to refocus on
Okay.
those, but typically I'm going to repurpose content for those, whether I'm chopping up a long form video or if I've made a TikTok, then I'll repost it on YouTube Shorts. And I'm still kind of experimenting with Shorts. Honestly, the long form, like scheduled posting has always been successful for me, so I kind of keep at that, and then it's hard to balance all the other platforms too. So with Shorts, that has fallen by the wayside a bit, and that's on my goals to really like hone in on and see what I can
Yeah.
get from that.
I mean, I asked that question because we're constantly evolving as well and trying to figure things out. And shorts seem to be something that is important.
Yeah.
But in the way that YouTube has it, you can create a short pretty easily off of your long form video, right? So we can do an episode and really just clip out what we want to
Right.
without having to go into like another program, clip it and all that stuff. So, Trish,
If you had to pick just one platform for the rest of your life, what would it be?
YouTube.
YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was that or TikTok. So
Yeah.
do you find I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Do you find that you're using TikTok and then you're you're using that video and then you're putting it on Instagram?
Doing a TikTok and then putting on Instagram, I usually don't put my TikToks on Instagram.
Okay.
I do know another agent who's done a lot of that, and it's been very successful for her. But my audience on TikTok is totally different than my audience on Instagram. And
Really? That's
Yeah.
weird.
What are the demographic differences?
so TikTok just tends to be a lot of people I don't know. And Instagram, I know a lot of people. Instagram's also like a little more delicate, it seems like. TikTok is like anything goes, and people are raw and real
run
and
and gun,
vicious
yeah.
and yeah. And so
Have you been bullied on TikTok?
100%.
Yeah, I saw-
Have you really?
I saw one of them. Yeah.
I mean, I've been called like every name in the book. It's insane. The hate people have for real estate agents is like, how? Like, what else do you do with your time?
The jokes. There's
Stock
a lot
agents.
of jokes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's some guy he's always talking about the market crashing and he hates realtors, and he has his own TikTok account where I don't even know where he gets this stuff. He just makes up crap, I swear. And people, like all these, unfortunately, gullible people follow him. I don't even know what state he's in, and it's always doom and gloom. And so when I come on there and share any sort of good news, people tag him in the comments so that he'll respond to me. And so I had to block him because I was so sick of him stitching my stuff and telling untruths. It was like getting so ridiculous. So I blocked him. He had a new account and people started tagging him on my stuff again. And I was like, no.
Oh my God.
Away from
This sounds
Wow.
sounds like you need to get the authorities involved.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Are you the only person that he's doing this?
No, that's the funny thing. He's just like I don't know. He's a troll, I guess, but
Yeah, apparently.
he has,
He's
like-
probably like 13.
he has like hundreds of
He has a
thousands of
Twitch account.
followers. And I'm like, this is so sad. All these people following you and getting misinformation. But
So, do you still have any connections to Southern Arizona? Like, do you do any business in Tucson or any? So you're Phoenix Valley.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Before my parents moved here, I helped them sell their house in Green Valley, so I joined the board for that. But I never renewed that stuff, and yeah, just here.
Do you have a good hold on Moon Valley yet?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of knowing what's going on, I don't.
You're not the market leader in that area.
I'm not the market leader in that area, and honestly, all
is there
of
anybody that's the market leader in that area?
There sure is.
We won't talk about that first.
Yeah. And, and she does a great job. I think if you look at my sales, it's like someone told me this, it's like a shotgun blast across the valley. Like I'm everywhere, which is fine with me. It'd be nice to be closer, but.
You think that's because of the social media?
Mm-hmm.
How much what percentage of your business is from the social media or YouTube or whatever?
80% is YouTube. And then.
So you don't know any of these people before that?
Most of the time, no.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the
That's
rest is
crazy.
referral or repeat. Yeah.
So you need to step it up a little more, and then all of a sudden you'll just focus only on Moon Valley
Yeah, there we go.
and see what happens.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
So Brandy does. Oh, you have the mics though. Okay. So as far as like your perspective, does she have a handle on Moon Valley?
She isn't. She doesn't have listings in Moon Valley
Okay.
often, but I mean, we have a very high concentration of realtors that reside
Oh.
in Moon Valley. I'm seeing far more random people right now, but
Yeah.
she is literally all over because she gets a lot of her business from social. A lot of those people are actually relocating to Arizona.
Oh, really?
So like
The
virtual.
one we're recording right now actually is.
And you think that
moving
that's
here.
from YouTube or from TikTok?
It's from YouTube,
It's
mainly.
from YouTube.
Some have been TikTok. What's interesting about TikTok too is I was thinking about this the other day. All my clients that have found me on TikTok have been like Gen X, not millennial, and definitely not Gen Z. And people think of TikTok as such a like young platform, or at least they used to. Maybe not anymore, but everyone has been like 45 plus. Maybe 50 or older that have reached out to me on TikTok.
That's shocking.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that are in our age bracket go there for like news and sports and stuff. Like I know
Latest dance
so many
trends.
people that go there to they don't go there to learn a dance move of somebody's thing.
Yeah.
They literally go there for information because it's like YouTube in that fact that you can find out anything you want to know. If you want to learn how to cook or create or be a carpenter, you can figure
Right.
it out on either one of those two things.
Can I
Right.
ask another question?
Yeah.
Sorry, I knew I was going to be talking a lot because marketing is your focus.
Yeah.
How do you market your listings? Since we were just talking about your presence in Moon Valley, like, is there any like plan to start trying to like up your business there, or how do you market listings across the board?
So are you saying market to sellers to get listings?
Yes. Like, how do you win listing presentations, or do you work with mostly buyers?
So majority of my business has been buyers because of YouTube, and that's really that is the downside to YouTube is you do get a lot of buyers. That said, my market updates attract more sellers than buyers, and so since I've gotten much more detailed on my market updates, I've gotten a lot more seller leads from those, which I think a lot of people ask about who are doing YouTube, like how do you get seller leads? And the answer is market updates, in my opinion. And so that's the best way for me to find seller leads is through YouTube. And then in terms of like listing presentations, then I'm always sharing all the social media that we do to market their home, because there's a lot of agents who do social media, but many of them don't, and they don't do it to the level that I'm comfortable doing
Right.
it. I'll pay for a professional video on every single listing, no matter what, because it's a win-win for me. I get to have content for my YouTube channel, you know.
Right.
It markets their house, and I get my own content from it.
Are you able to boost that?
You can.
Do you ever have to, or do you ever?
I don't. From what I understand, when you start paying for advertising on YouTube, you're killing your organic reach.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to mess with what I've built to this point, so I never boost anything on YouTube.
Have you ever compared yourself to another agent in town, as far as like where do you rank as far as like YouTube presence?
It's a good question. I I know other agents on YouTube, and I kind of know where they're at, but I don't know everyone or where they're at or where I would rank.
I just have never heard anybody getting 80% of their business from social media.
Oh yeah, well, we got our class tomorrow with Molly Rundle. She's at 90% of social, not YouTube specifically, but 90% of her business comes from social media.
I believe it.
If you, I just lost my train of thought. Shoot. Oh, so being that you are shotgun right now and you would like to maybe narrow your focus a little bit, have you focused specifically on your personal brand to kind of make that happen?
So that's a good question. I have a team. I had a team, and I have an assistant now who is working to be an agent, and then I plan to add to that. So we were a team of 3 or 4, and then that all kind of, we went separate ways, but I still have the Desert Dreamers team. And so that is kind of the team brand, because ultimately I would like to bring in agents to work with me and myself get out of as much production, or at least just maybe focus more on listings than buyers. That would be the goal in the future. So I haven't focused on marketing specifically to any neighborhood or doing any farming, anything like that at this point, and it really is something I should focus on. I don't mind going different places, but like I don't really want to sell in Buckeye or Santan Valley, like that kind of thing. I'd rather stay fairly central in Scottsdale.
Yeah, it gets tough driving around everywhere.
Especially with a 4.5-month-old.
But I know somebody that's like extremely successful that actually owns a big brokerage that would much rather do buyers all day long.
I prefer buyers.
Because he's like, dude, it's like I have. Sometimes it takes 6 months. They're always mad at you. It's like these are the people that you're showing homes for or to. You know, it's like it's their decision, really. It's like, here we go. I'm just like, keep going, and they can find it the first day, right? And boom, you're under contract.
Yep.
Especially when you start getting into those high dollar homes that stay on the market for longer. Has your business changed has it slowed down at all? Okay, so like everybody else, you're also seeing something. Yeah. You know, of this market pressure, I guess, right now.
For sure. Yeah, definitely slowed down, and thankfully leads still trickle in. It's just not what it was when things were as busy as they were before. But yeah, that's why I feel like I know I'm doing things right, because when I start to feel something in my business, it ends up being, it's confirmed by what other people are saying, or I get on a Tina Tambor talk and she's there talking about, things are slowing down because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, it's not just me. All right.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah, I've definitely been affected by that too, but thankfully it hasn't come to a halt. It's just slower.
It's just a little slow. So what's this, like the process when someone finds you on social media? Did they reach out to you like through a DM, or like how do they get a hold of you, or they call you, or do you get a lot of through YouTube? And how can you communicate through YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
A little of all of that. Some people just call, some people email, and then I have lead magnets. So people will click on, a relocation guide and provide their information in exchange for the free relocation guide, and then I can contact them for, to find out what they're looking for. So that's how I get connected to a lot of people, or put them on a drip campaign from there. So there's a whole, funnel behind just the outreach. When I first started, I was just kind of relying on people to reach out to me, and that worked fine, but it really changes the game when you set up the funnel and people can basically date you for a while, right? They hear from you a lot, they start to see more and more of you, and then eventually they trust you and they reach out.
So where do they click on that lead magnet, so to speak? Like, do they click on it and then it takes you to your website?
It doesn't. So depending on what they click on, yes, it'll take them to another website, or it'll give them the download.
Right then in YouTube.
Yes. Well, it goes to a landing page.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's all just like in the description of my videos. And then I also have a link tree on my Instagram that has all of those lead magnets as well, and my TikTok, so people can access.
Gotcha.
What CRM do you use?
I use Follow Up Boss.
Okay. I assume that like that's a really important tool in your toolbox.
It is
your CRM. Okay.
It is, yeah, and there's probably so much more I could do with it too. That's kind of on the list of like enhancing that and really getting better.
Yeah, it's a powerful platform.
Who taught you how to do the funnels and all like that whole process? I mean, it's very like online marketing stuff.
Yeah. Well, so the YouTube stuff that I started, they had talked a lot about lead magnets. They gave you some introduction to it. And then I did like a training program after I had already had my channel, and it was about all different things real estate related prospecting. Mm-hmm. So any kind of social media. And so they broke down the funnel a little bit more. Gotcha. And so then I kind of took it from there, and it's, I mean, you could go all day long researching that, building things out. It's just a matter of how.
But you did it all yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's very basic. It could be so much better, but for now it's worked.
Yeah.
So Caitlin, since the social is such a big part of your business, how much time a day do you think you are on your phone engaging, or weekly? What type of time investment is it for you to shoot and edit and all that other stuff? Like,
it's a big time investment, but again, like I think about it as like this is my job. Prospecting is my job, and then client calls, all the other things. I've had to work through this to leverage things as best as possible, because you just don't have the time all the time to do, I was doing 7 TikToks a week and like 2 reels a week and 7 stories on Instagram, 2 YouTube videos. Like that takes a ton of time, especially when you're editing it all yourself too.
That's a full-time job in and of itself.
It was insane. Plus the market was what it was. Like I'm talking even last year, I was doing all of this and out with buyers majority of the time. Like I was working like 14-hour days, 7 days a week. And so I finally figured out how to leverage a few things. So I started using Fiverr for a video editor just to get like some of my reels edited and a couple YouTube videos. So now I have it honed in a little bit more, in the way that I hacked that better was just putting out the content that I do without a lot of editing. So my TikToks, I just like go on and talk about what's going on, and that's it. I'm not trying to dance. I'm not trying to use filters. I'm not trying to make like an insane like home tour with all these effects in it. I'm just talking about the market and then seeing what comes of it. Similar to what I would do in an Instagram story. And then with my YouTube videos, I kind of stopped doing, like, I was at the point where I have a drone. I was like getting drone footage while I was out of neighborhoods and doing neighborhood tours and all this stuff. I don't really do much of that anymore unless it's for a listing. So my videos have just become a lot more, current events focused. And so all I have to do is prep the information, turn on the camera in OBS, talk through it. I don't have a script or a teleprompter. I don't usually edit it at all. I just talk for 15 minutes and screen share and whatever. And that cut out a ton of time. So it's evolved to what it is, but it's my priority. It's just like making your cold calls every morning, whatever they say to do for that. That's just, I think of it in the same way for my content.
Do you have a calendar, basically? Say, this is what I do on Monday, this is what I do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
I do not.
You don't? Okay.
No. And that's to my detriment. Like, I'm going to get there. Coming back from maternity leave, everything is so much harder. Like, I cannot go into a day without a plan anymore. I used to be able to cheat all day long, and, if I didn't finish something, it's like, okay, I'll get up at 5 tomorrow and do it real quick. Like, I don't have that anymore. So I've got to get more.
But you still do your Friday videos?
I do.
So no matter what? No
matter what. And, well, yeah, and my Monday market updates, which I just switched to Tuesday. So now Tuesday market updates, but neither of those falter no matter what.
So when you do those, do you just screen share the actual Cromford report, or like what do you do?
Yep, I just load up a bunch of tabs of whatever it is I'm going to talk about. So news articles, the Cromford report graphs, if it's a particular graph I'm going to share, and then I just click through the tabs so it's all ready to go and just share it that way. Okay,
so do you video yourself doing that, or is it all through like the...
It's all through OBS.
Okay, it's through that too.
Yep.
So you just have a camera right here that's filming you? Okay.
Yep, and then screen recording at the same time, and you can... put yourself in the corner and all that stuff.
That's what you do. You put yourself in the corner.
Myself in the corner.
Trisha?
So we have a group of camera-averse people here at Bison Ventures. We have a few recent hires that are very active on all social media platforms. But for the most part, I think part of it's our age, whatever. We've got our own hang-ups. What type of advice would you give to somebody like me or Brandy in terms of like how to have more success on video, for example?
You just got to do it. I know that doesn't help, but go back and watch my very first YouTube video and you'll see it was not good. And your first video is not going to be good no matter what. I don't care how much you prep. It's going to suck compared to what you'll do in a year or 2 years or whatever. You're always going to get better and more comfortable. I know another agent who has a YouTube channel and has had so much success on TikTok, and she still gets nervous filming any video whatsoever, and like shakes and stuff. But she does it. So I think it's just a matter of how you really have to believe in the success that it's going to bring and how much you want to get there, because it's an uncomfortable thing to do. But like for me, door knocking was way more uncomfortable.
Right.
So what's the alternative? And this is better, I think.
So this is just your guys' opinion, and everybody can chime in on this. The videos that have like multiple, either like screenshots and videos just after, and it's just a voiceover talking about like what's happening. Do you think that those are effective?
Not as effective as if you're going to show your face.
Yeah.
I think they're right now, at least in my opinion, they are definitely trendy. I'm seeing a lot more of like B-roll, right? With
tons of B-roll,
and text overlays, and I think which are great for people like me, right? However, I would agree that having your face in that frame for like a second will propel you up considerably. I have to look it up, but at one point a few years ago I read a statistic that said that, this is Instagram specific, posts, this is before Reels even became like a big thing, posts with faces do 40% better than posts that don't have faces. And if it's a small business and the actual owner is in frame, it goes up to 70%, right? Because it's all about the, like, know, and trust. Mm-hmm. And you're way more apt to connect with somebody if you see their face, mm-hmm. right? However, the B-roll thing, I think it works really, really well in addition to, right? I don't think you could just do that and that alone.
Right.
But
that would be, I think, a decent starter kit for people that are, like you said, nervous to do it, to just get on camera. Mm-hmm. Because, hearing your voice sometimes is also frightening. So,
yep.
Yep.
It is. It's hard to see yourself in general, but what does everyone always says, like, that doesn't look like me, or I don't really sound like that or whatever. And, you hear all these coaches being like, yeah, no, you do. You look like that and you sound like that. So get over it, because this is you. This is what we all see anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not hiding anything. But it's hard. I know it's uncomfortable.
So moving over to you have a question?
Well, just kind of more like two
little higher.
Bring the microphone
two
closer.
comments. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just we're in a relationship business, right? So I think people know, like, and trust Caitlin because they feel like they know her already when they see her videos, even if they're 3,000 miles away. They know her because they see her and trust her even to go out. So I know you do some, when you have customers who are 3,000 miles away and can't come into town to see their the listings that you have for them, how do you accommodate those clients?
We do a lot of FaceTime showings. So, and especially during, like in 2021, I did so many FaceTime showings. I had a number of buyers buy homes sight unseen, and I did everything for them, and even the final walkthrough, and they closed and then handed over the keys after it was all said and done. So, yeah, we do a lot of FaceTime for that kind of thing.
And Caitlin's been very generous and encouraging for me because she is one of the most consistent people that I've ever seen do this, right? And I think that speaks to her subscribers. But she got me as a gift one year a lapel mic and a remote so I could click my phone on and off. So she's been very thoughtful and encouraging there to help me.
It's still
get
in the
on
box,
video.
but it's fine.
There's a couple of videos that I've guest starred on for her and vice versa. We have a blooper reel. I think that's still pretty hilarious with a attacking bumblebee or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's been fantastic, and she's always open to sharing what she does and what her routine is, just to kind of encourage other people to really just do it, like she said.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think people would be interested or are interested in the entire flow of a mortgage process? Because do you think any clients have any idea like what it really takes behind the scenes? I mean, I just think about it, maybe you're the wrong person to ask this, but I think as an agent, it's your client has to decide who they're going to use, because they have to obviously use a loan most of the time, or use a mortgage company most of the time. And I feel like there's a lot of underappreciation of the effort and the amount of work and time that goes into the production of a loan. Mm-hmm. First of all, it's very expensive to do a loan. People don't understand that as well. I'm going to run a little rant right now. Somebody will call, say Brandy, on a Sunday, not one of your clients, but somebody else maybe, and she could spend 2 hours with that person, completely educating them, telling them everything there is, about what they're gonna do, give them all the offers and all the choices, so to speak. And they're so happy with her. And then the next day they call and they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I talked to another person and I took all your information, I gave it to them, and they said they can get you a 1/4 point better." Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Brandy's time is worth a lot of money. Yep. And over the weekend, people are doing this. So one of my gripes, I would say, is from a referral partner standpoint, having clients understand, if you're going to ask somebody because you're out with your agent and you found the dream home, but you never got pre-qualified, but now you need to get pre-qualified because you want to write an offer. So you're going to call this person on a Sunday, get them away from their family, put them through all this to go rate shop them, is very disrespectful. And I think that from a referral partner's standpoint, agents could be way better about absolutely you cannot be doing this. Managing expectations. For sure. Because we can't do like a listing agreement like you guys can do. Mm-hmm. Technically we could, but it doesn't hold any weight. Mm-hmm. This is one of the things I think right now that's super frustrating. It's always frustrating, but right now it's very frustrating because it is so much. There's been so many times recently where people are on the phone all weekend long. Mm-hmm. And then we lose the deal because somebody got a better rate. When they don't, it's just like the general public doesn't appreciate I don't think the consulting part of what they're getting. Mm-hmm. Or if they do, they love it, but it's the price at the end of the day, mm-hmm. which is sad. Yeah. Really. Mm-hmm. So that's my rant, everybody. I'm Ryan Madrid with Bison Ventures. We are a mortgage company, and we are really good at educating our clients. So don't use us and abuse us, please, or any of your loan officers at any company.
Well, can I?
Yeah, what's up?
Caitlin, do you use a buyer broker agreement?
I don't, and I might start.
You haven't been burned enough to motivate you to do that?
Yes, and it's been something that I tried to introduce at one point and then never really committed to it. And one thing that I'm really thankful for is I have a lot of trust with the clients that reach out to me. They're not cold Zillow leads. They're not even like a referral from someone who doesn't know me at all. It's people that feel like they already know me. So it's very rare that I don't convert someone because they use someone else. It's more that maybe they didn't decide to buy or their plans changed or whatever. And so I'm thankful for that, but I have gotten burned plenty of times. And the thing is too, like even on the listing side, yeah, you have a listing agreement, but you go to someone's house and give them like, all these comps. You spend hours putting together a listing presentation, researching their neighborhood, researching all of these things. And maybe they already have someone else in mind, and they're just doing their due diligence to interview you in addition to everyone else. And although they were never your client and you didn't work for free, you consulted for free for that time, and you traveled there, and you know, all of those things. And especially with a baby at home, like for me, I really have to think about like, what do I want my schedule to look like? What kind of risk do I want to take on accepting new clients that may or may not commit to me? Like that's my time away from my family, you know, and so buyer broker is definitely something I want to start using. I just need to figure out how I introduce that, because a lot of the leads that come to me are like 6 months out, a year out, maybe 2 years out that I'm going to nurture for a while. So do you have them sign that agreement at that time? No one's going to do that. But then how do you continue to re-engage with them, then have them sign it, but then you spend in that year, you know, spending time talking to them often and consulting with them. And anyway, this is my rant.
No, I love it. And I love the way this is, I love this direction, by the way.
I wish we had something like a buyer broker.
There are people that do use this that I know in the mortgage business, especially in like the Southeast.
I did not know that.
They full blown, you know, in the Freedom Club that I used to be in, they talk about it a lot, because I mean, one guy told a really good story is that he had already pre-qualified somebody, and he was now told that this guy was going to go with his credit union, but it was Friday night, and he was at the LO was at his son's baseball game, and the client called and said, "Hey, I want to write an offer. I can't get a hold of my guy over at the credit union because it's Friday night. They're closed. Like, you know, he doesn't work on the weekends. Can you send me my pre-qual?" And the guy's like, "No, you're not using me. So I'm not going to leave my family and my son's baseball game to go home, send this document for you so you can go." And the guy's like, "Well, that's illegal." Right, the client did. He's like, "Well, absolutely, it's not illegal, by the way." And so immediately, you know, this LO called the agent and said, you know, "This is not appropriate. Like, what are you doing? You cannot do this." And then the agent actually defended the LO in that standpoint. He's like, "Dude, you're gonna use this guy. Actually, you know, you are gonna do it, because you can't expect somebody to work for free that much, right? To take a loan application was one thing, but then structuring a deal, especially if they are a self-employed borrower and they own multiple properties and businesses, we're talking, I mean, it could be hours of work that could happen on a Sunday at 2:00 in the afternoon when you're at the lake, you know? And it's just, that's a frustrating part about the business, is it's educating like the general public about, I don't know, just like to have like appropriate manners, ethics, and morals.
Agents are key there, right? The
Right.
consumer may not really get it,
Right.
but if our partners are informed enough, they can help. So you're like a team.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard a Gary Keller or something like that ever talk about this side of things, of like you need to set expectations with the potential client before you go do a listing appointment, before you go do all this work, finding out exactly who they're working with and how many people they may be, you know, interviewing, so to speak, because sometimes it might be like these you know, pre-interview questions. Is it worth my time? Because, you know, you have to value your time. Like you said, you're a new mom. I'd be like, well, how many people are you interviewing on this for this situation?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's not, I don't know about Gary Keller. I don't.
I just said him because everybody seems to love everything he says. I don't know.
I don't see him saying that quite as much. I don't know. But I feel like he's probably a little bit more old school focused of like, you got to go in and get the deal. You got to impress them with your presentation. But so have you ever read Never Split the Difference?
No.
Amazing book.
Yep.
So Chris Voss partnered with, what's his name? Steve Scholl, I think. So they wrote a book last fall that came out called The Full Fee Agent. And it's about, that's partly it. So it's all the negotiation tactics, but it's framed in the mindset for realtors because Never Split the Difference is so popular with real estate agents. They wrote a book about how to use those tactics in real estate when you are consulting with sellers. And so what they say is basically like, don't drive to a listing appointment unless you've qualified them over the phone to the point where they're going to work with you. And I know it sounds crazy, but like, don't spend your time going because you're either the fool or you're the favorite. And they've already decided on who they're going to pick. And there's certain questions you can ask them over the phone to uncover whether or not you're the favorite and whether or not you should waste your time.
What was the second book? The full
It's
what?
called The Full Fee Agent.
The Full Fee
I
Agent.
just wrote it down. I didn't know about that book.
It's relatively new. I've listened to it 3 times.
Okay, I'm going to download it on Audible after this.
Can we download it on Blinkist?
Oh, yeah.
So there may be things that you can pull from there for mortgage.
Yeah.
I think. And it's too bad you guys don't have like a buyer broker type of thing, but it's hard because what you do seems so much, it's not quick or easy, but to the consumer, it seems like it because you don't have to meet in person. It can just be like a, hey, I need this. What documents do you need from me kind of thing. So it feels, I think, sometimes very transactional to the consumer, so they don't realize, like you said, how much work goes into it. But that would be the value of creating a video, and you could do so many pieces of content on that of like why rate isn't the only thing you should worry about, and questions you should ask before you call a loan officer and stuff like that. Could be really educational.
We went over a value proposition like workshop in like this networking group that I'm in, and Mortgage Coach came in as a big thing for that because we rated everybody's business. There's 21 of us.
Is this like your Gento thing?
Yeah. And we were an 8 out of 10 from a value proposition because everybody ever used us. They're like, everything that we're trying to help everybody else with, we do already. Because we're very service driven. We have tons of steps and processes, and there's handwritten cards, and there's gifts, and there's everything, closing gifts under $25. We are very structured on the time that things happen. Everything that everybody else is trying to figure out, we've gotten really good at. But to another business, such as a moving company, because that was one of the ones we did, there was a lot of things that value people were bringing to them, and we really couldn't figure it out for us because it was, how do we get the general public to understand that we're not just like a telemarketing company that you just call up and at Rocket Mortgage or Chase or whatever. We are a consulting business that provides the education that's going to help you make a massive decision in your life, and we're going to give you multiple options, and we're going to use Mortgage Coach. I'd say that's because she uses it, and we're still trying to get better at it. But I think Mortgage Coach, for everybody who doesn't know that, side-by-side comparisons, the tax benefits, all the different things that people need to see because they see a quarter point difference, but it might only be $39, right? And that sort of deal, that is it's easier to sell that, right? Of the purpose of using us and saying having them commit to use us. So this turned into you doing the podcast for me.
Yeah, no, I'm all about it.
Sorry.
We can talk
great.
about it all
We
day.
don't usually do this. Ryan's not really usually doing commercials.
No, but
I've
been frustrated.
He's fired up.
Got him fired up.
I've been a little frustrated lately.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that's happening, obviously, with mortgage and real estate is a lot of these people who perhaps we're never going to be true professionals, they're going to fall by the wayside. So I'm hoping that a lot of the things that Ryan was just talking about will improve with seasoned agents, because I think anybody who's ever been screwed over by a buyer client, right, who walked into Shea Homes on a Sunday, signed in, and you lost, maybe 6 months worth of showings, or the person who truly shops right, and the agent can't steer clearly. But if the agent doesn't explain the value of working with a local lender, we're going to lose all day long. So the people who do get it, like you, are really where I've been spending more of my time, is instead of trying to convince the newer agents who don't get it, I just like going all in on those who already they appreciate and value the relationship. As soon as a deal goes south and they call us practically in tears because they can't close, and the agent's going to be out like $40,000 in a commission or whatever, right? Then they're our best friends. Right? We'd love to be able to get that kind of level of relationship without a crisis, and that's hard.
Yeah.
So what is it like? So I'm going to pivot for a second before we wrap this up. How's it been working with a 4.5-month-old?
It's a transition.
Wait, hold on. How was it like working at 9 months pregnant?
Awful.
Okay.
I was, I don't know what's worse. No, that was worse, I think. I had a very pretty easy pregnancy till the end, but then I was just done. So that was rough. But thankfully, I had my assistant who helped out a ton at the end, and I was able to take some time, which was wonderful, and she covered everything and we have a closing today that she covered at the tail end of my maternity leave. So she did awesome. And so it's just been a transition because, like I was saying, like the time, it's just different. Like when I'm not working, I don't want to be getting text messages about different things that that takes away my attention to spend with him. So, and they change so much. Like every 3 days, I feel like he's doing something new. So when I only get like 3 hours with him a day, all of a sudden a week goes by and it's like you're a different baby than you were last week. And all of this is new to me too, as a new mom, that I want to enjoy. So it's been a hard transition, and I think we'll get into a routine, but I'm trying to figure out what my schedule looks like, what I will allow versus what I won't allow. And the biggest joke is that like you have so much flexibility as a realtor, and you don't. You're on everyone else's schedule until you decide what you want yours to look like, and that means sometimes turning away business or, finding a different solution.
Yeah.
Not everyone's always happy with that, but figuring that out.
All right, so this is the last thing I want to ask. So did your pregnancy and obviously having a son have anything to do with you moving to the real broker to start like, okay, this is where I can start my own thing where I can have people under me that I can build a business with? And
that wasn't the motivator. I was attracted to Reel because there are so many people that do social media prospecting there. There are a lot of agents there nationwide with really big YouTube channels that I respect, and big Instagram presence and that kind of thing. And so I was like, this is where I want to be around like-minded people, and they have a lot of masterminds and things like that are all social media focused, whereas at previous brokerages, if someone asked me how I get my business and I said YouTube, they were very confused. So I'm with my people, I feel like. So that was motivating. And then plus with building a team, why wouldn't you want to be somewhere where you can be compensated for that?
Absolutely.
Makes a lot of sense.
Well, with that being said, thank you, Caitlin. This was a great interview. Really appreciate it.
Learned a lot.
And if you need to buy or sell a home anywhere in Arizona, Maricopa County,
yes,
preferably Moon Valley.
Yes, there we go.
Which is, 7th Street and Thunderbird.
Yeah, okay. You got it.
That area. She would love to help you.
Yes.
And thank you, Brandy, for being our special guest over here. She wasn't on camera, but next time.
Interview with
Thanks,
Brandy.
Trey. Thanks, Trish. Everybody out there, please. This is the part at the end of the show that I've realized that they're probably not going to watch anymore. So I usually go, hey, go check out all our social media platforms. But I probably should just do all that at the beginning in our own separate thing. So that's what we're going to do today. So we're just going to say bye.
Bye.
See ya.